So this is Santosh here. I'm currently the co-founder for Foundership. Before this, I ran India's first event ticketing platform, Explara, and now building Web3 launcher or Web3 incubator and accelerator out of India for the globe. Now that's the one. Now with Web3, you will learn what the powerful thought behind Bitcoin, the various the kind of frameworks and opportunity coming out with the Lavin stock. And the power system, the NFTs coming up with, right? Fantastic technology. First time ever in my 2 decades of career, I'm seeing that, in the world we are talking about protocols, right? Earlier we were only knowing a couple of protocols, HTTP protocol, SMTP protocol, and maybe, 1 or 2, that's it. Today with Web3, you are now will be finding dozens of protocols getting launched every and now. So Web3, if you are looking out for the next decade, it's almost the internet is going to be replicated, what we saw in 2000s, it's almost going to be replicated in the next 2 decades. So that's the intent of, putting this out there. Right? Now, people, we have already been talked, so I'm going to, super speed it up. You already understand what Web3 is. This is the next, version of iteration of World Wide Web. Right? And you already know about blockchain. You already talked about what is the tangibility, intangibility that's coming up. So I'm not going to go through this because my intent was to come in and leverage the speakers that have already talked about it and take you through why, in a business context, what does Web3 provides you as an opportunity to create new ideas. Now, we already talked about decentralization, blockchain technologies, and token-based economies are the 3 fundamentals of Web3, which is how it is going to be used when you come up with the next versions of Google's or the next versions of social media, the next version of browsers. Everything is going to run on those 3 top things that Web3 comes with, right? And today, as we talked about, internet is controlled, centralized. Can you distribute it? Blockchain helps you to do a security risk, right? It helps you to move, kind of remove the fraud that generally happens. And the token is kind of behavior system that you're going to build in, when you're thinking about a new idea that you're going to launch and, help your customers. Already talked about, and I think Lavin talked about 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. I'm not going to go deep into this because you already understood about it. Now, what's changing? This is exactly where I want to drop in, right? There are 3 things that is changing in the Web3. There are new principles, and I'm sure, you heard Kasif talking about, some of the core thinking and principles. So principles are changing. New paradigms are coming. First time ever in the world, for such a decade, we are getting new paradigms that was never existing in Web 2. I'm going to talk on that. New revenue models. We have some standard revenue models that we have been operating. There is a new revenue model that is coming out in Web 3, right? And these 3 things are going to help you to think about new business, whether you are running an agency, whether you are an entrepreneur that you're going to launch a social web, whether you're an entrepreneur that you're going to go to a DeFi or a lending, anything that you do are going to be based upon these 3 things. Now, what's the new principles? Let me quickly draw. In the Web 2, you could go and use Google, but Google is going to use your data and make money out of it. But in Web 3, there is no restriction to data. You can download on Bitcoin who transacted and how much of money. So everything data that is there on blockchain is public by nature. You don't have to pay. That's a principle that is changing. First time ever. Second, in the Web 2, it is untrusted. You have to, pretty much say, hey, I don't know you. In Web 3, it's trusted. The moment you are getting into a Web 3, it's trusted. You don't have to ask. We talked about it. If there is a node, the node is trusted. If there is an NFT, it is trusted. That's one. In the Web 2, it is very closed network. You cannot get in. You have to ask Facebook, can I get your API access? In Web 3, it's permissionless. As I think Lavin talked about it, you can take Uniswap, which is a $10 billion or more. You can literally copy the code or build on top of it. Nobody is going to ask you. Look at Polygon. Polygon built a beautiful system around Ethereum. No question asked. The parallel example could be the Linux, right, that came in, and Ubuntu came in, and then Red Hat came in, right? That only we saw in 2 or 3 examples. In the Web 3, literally every application is almost like an open source. This is where they call it as a composability. Like you can take and build on top of it. When you look at in Web 2, the protocols were free. Do you pay money for SMTP? No. You pay money to Gmail, right? But in case of Web3, so that's why the business started breaking, because people spend hours and hours writing protocol, but they were not making money. The guy who wrote HTTP might be poor, but everybody else who built on HTTP is now $1 billion, right? So in Web3, the protocols are paid. In the sense, the protocols will be making money. So they don't have to depend upon data. They don't have to depend upon advertisements. They don't have to depend upon somebody giving them grant. The protocols will make money. Imagine when you have a world where protocols are making money. First time ever that's happening. Similarly, when you look at Web2, very corporate governance, all centralized. In Web3, as we talked about Uniswap, there is no company there. It is just running because community members are running it. In Web2, it's a local market, right? Today, your customer sitting in US, you still have to go through a lot of process to get the money. But with Web3, it's global by nature. Today, you can literally create and have your customer pay from any country, as long as it's in Ethereum, right? So it's a global by nature. There is in Web2, it's always, let's acquire customer, let's make losses. But in Web3, there is small marginal cost. You have to just take the blockchain and just a small marginal cost there. So there is a huge difference of how you think your business there. In Web2, you search for customers. You say, hey, let me get some money. I'll go and put an ad, and then I'm going to look for customers. In Web3, you start a community, right? There are so many new ideas have come in where people say, okay, I'm not selling you, but I'm building something. Can you hear me out? Can you understand? Can you tell me what exactly your problem statement is? So you're building a community of people, and then you take your ideas to them saying, can you use it? I'm not going to charge you, but I want to be with you. Right? So these are the sort of principles. I'm not saying these principles were not existing. Maybe it was existing in a very partial way. Maybe it was existing in some businesses. But if you look at these principles, they are changing in such a big way. Now it gives you a new foundation to think about your business. Right? Now, after the principles, in every new times, whenever there is for example, why did Uber came in? Why did Uber came in so suddenly and not in 1960s, not in 1970s? When we all started using mobile, a new paradigm was created. Everybody was on a geolocation, right? My GPS is on, so the driver who has a Uber app can quickly locate where Santosh is and go and pick it up. So, just as an example, mobile gave birth to so many new business ideas that was not possible in the year 2000. Similarly, when you look at the current trend, there is a new paradigms. NFT, we just talked about how everything can be asset, how everything can be membership, how everything can be sort of very unique that cannot be overridden, right? That's one. DeFi, you already heard about the decentralized finance, whereby you don't need a bank. You can literally trade and operate in a very decentralized fashion. When you look at token, everything that we are doing, whether you have talked about a company called StepIn, where they are encouraging you that keep yourself active, and for that, you're going to be generating a token. So imagine that a lot of us who are lazy to keep ourselves healthy, you now have a company who is going to say, keep yourself healthy and we'll give you money. Because that's the only way they are going to build a very, sort of transparent and a good health, kind of ecosystem in wherever they are operating. And there are companies who are already successfully doing that. And token can be many, many forms, many, many good ideas, but this is one of the paradigm that is changing, because earlier you had coin systems, you had coupons, but they are you can manipulate them because they were all centralized. With token, it is decentralized. So if somebody said this is this, it cannot be manipulated. So that's also another new paradigm that is coming out. You heard about the DAO, Decentralized Access Organization. One of my equally finest example is Amul Corporation. Imagine 200, 2,000, 2 million such corporations coming out across the world, which are thriving and value generating for the community members, and kind of like having an ecosystem where everybody is enriched, not just centrally the founders or the management. That's the power. Protocols, I talked about it. It's no longer free. The protocols are going to make money. Imagine, Linus Torvalds making money at Linux. That would have been the brilliant, but no, he was only paid for a grant, or maybe, the Finland government gave it because he came from the, University of Helsinki. But with protocols emerging as paid, you're going to continue to create a lot of new ideas and protocols. Community owned. There are beautiful new businesses coming out where if you have 10,000 members, 10,000 NFT holders, each pulled money to do a certain business, and the returns are coming and getting distributed to these 10,000 community members. Imagine the powerful idea there, and this cannot be manipulated because NFT is going to be your membership card or your membership pass. Similarly, X to on, you already have heard about it. There is a little bit of fun there, play to on, learn to on, all that is being played out, but I think brilliant ideas are already coming out there. People are already doing out on gaming, people are already doing out in health, people are already doing in watching. Why do I have to watch YouTube and only Google makes money? Why can't my owners who are owning my sort of DAO and let's say the future XTube, why won't they earn money rather than just one entity earning money? So good ideas there. Metaverse, I saw in a Kasif's presentation how you will have a lot of ideas on the metaverse that you will be making money. Lot of validator services. We talked about mining, how miners are making money. No matter wherever you are, in Indonesia, in Fiji or India, you can now be part of that global ecosystem of business. You're talking about gas fees. When you are running a blockchain or you are running certain things, there is a transaction involved, so you can make money. You can build a business around gas fee. Right? There are already a lot of businesses coming out on how do you optimize gas fee and how do we leverage gas fee to help you build an idea. So there is another idea there. A new concept has come in this year by Ethereum called soul-based tokens. Formally, that is saying that, hey, in the world of blockchain or in the world of Web3, is there a way that I can identify as a unique that cannot be traded? Like, for example, your soul cannot be traded. So the same thing is going to come in the Web3, where you yourself will be represented as one unit that cannot be traded. Right? So that's your unique identity to the Web3. Decentralized exchanges, I'm sure you've heard about Binance and many other, or Uniswap and many other exchanges. So when you look at these paradigms, you are getting first time a new set of opportunities, right? That forms as your cornerstone of your business idea, of your fundamental, finding out what business problem you have, and you look at those paradigms and see what is going to help me to fit into this. And the revenue models, right? If you look at the top 3, 4, that is exactly what is existing in the Web 2. You had SaaS, you had transaction fee, you had subscription, you had ad money, but now look at those 6, 7 things that you are here, right? Revenue, income sharing. How about, I talked about it, how about creating an AMUL kind of corporation where you have 10,000 members contributing as an NFT community pass holders, and then you take that money, put it as, as part of your business, sort of investment in wherever you want, and get the returns and distribute across all your members. It doesn't mean that you are a public company, but you are a community-owned company. So revenue, income sharing in a very decentralized way, right? Where somebody cannot manipulate with your data or your ownership. That's possible. A lot of you might have heard about, how many of you heard about ICOs? Please raise your hand. Okay, 2 or 3 or 4. Right, ICO, IGO, all these terms are nothing but to say that a Web3 company can go to public and raise money, either as an NFT or as a token holder. Now, that is also another way a lot of companies are generating revenue, right? It's giving them money. Uniswap, which was supposed to be a very decentralized, making more money than the Ethereum Foundation itself. Imagine that as a possibility there because of such opportunity there. And with traditional companies, we either bootstrap or we generate enough revenue, enough profitability, and then we infuse the cash into the business and grow, and that's the finest way. And then you have VC funding, investors funding, giving you money so that you go out and invest further. First time ever, you have a mechanism of continuous funding. What does that mean? That means that you can start a business, you can go back to your early 1,000 community members to say, hey, I'm building a business, B, and here is the opportunity for the future. Now, can you be part of it? Can you write me that 10,000 rupees, and here is your NFT. Here is your NFT to prove you that you gave me 10,000 rupees. This is just an example. And then you grow your business. Then you go to the next set of community members. Literally, today, first time ever, Web3 gives you a new way to generate revenue of funding, almost like a crowdfunding by a very, very legitimate way. very authentic way that you can prove that, yes, I have got money from so many members and I'm growing with them. So that's another way that you will be able to, kickstart your revenue idea of it. There are concepts like tokenized security, liquidity providers. I'm not going to deep dive, but this is to touch upon to say first time ever because of finance coming as part of the entire Web3 ecosystem, suddenly you are getting so much opportunity to think about new revenue models that is no longer the old dated, oh yeah, I have only 2 or 3, I can't do much about it. So this gives you one more layer of thinking in terms of your business ideas to leverage that. Now, this way, when you look at it from a Web3 user point of view, it's already touched, I don't have to go deep dive. In the Web3, you are owning your data. So the user is feeling good that, hey, if I'm using a Brave browser, how many of you are using Brave browser, by the way? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Brave browser doesn't use your data to sell you ad, though they will do in the premium, but that's the policy that they have. That's the philosophy that they have, right? So you are owning your data. You cannot be stopped just because somebody didn't like your voice, somebody didn't like your way of thinking. Your ISP is not going to cut you off. So you are hardly any intermediary in the Web3. You are uninterrupted. If you are kind of using an internet, tomorrow somebody is not going to knock your door and saying, hey, we are going to take you off. Right? With this kind of emerging model as new generation coming in, we all are getting into that kind of worldview. Suddenly, you will see a user segment who is looking out for such businesses. We all ask that question, where is the user? The user comes from the fact that we ourselves are looking out for a world where people are not going to stop our independent views. People are not going to stop our, kind of like different ideas. So that's where the users are already generating such kind of demand. So you have an opportunity for your Web3 business or startups to come and tap into that segment. Now, when you apply this kind of Web3, user-specific focus, right, there one, and then you find out a right problem value statement. Look for one thing which is very, very sure, whether Web 2, Web 1, Web 3, whatever we are going to be, creating a business has to solve the user's need. Without that, nothing going to work, right? As we talked about in the very first Udit talk, ICP, right? As long as your customer, you don't know what your customer needs, even Web 5 comes, it's not going to work.